Something doesn't add up. 3 years ago, you made $55,000 a year. Today, you make $72,000. That's a 31% increase. You should feel significantly better off. You don't. In fact, you feel more stressed about money now than you did when you were making less. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why your raises are an illusion and why the system is designed to make sure you never actually get ahead. This is the raise paradox. My name is Tani, and what I am about to show you is going to make you question every promotion you've ever celebrated. Let me introduce you to Marcus. 3 years ago, he was making $58,000 as a junior project manager. Today, after 2 promotions and annual raises, he makes $76,000. That's an $18,000 increase. On paper, he's crushing it. In reality, he's more broke now than he was 3 years ago. Here's his paycheck breakdown from 3 years ago. $58,000 salary. After taxes, $44,660 annual take home. That's $3,720 per month. His rent was $900. His car payment was $280. Groceries were $250. Utilities, $110. Phone and internet, $95. Insurance, $180. Total fixed costs, $1,815 per month. That left him with $1,907 in discretionary money every month. Not rich, but comfortable. He could save. He could go out. He had breathing room. Now, let's look at Marcus today. $76,000 salary. After taxes, $57,380 annual take home. That's $4,780 per month. He got a $1,060 monthly increase. He should feel way better, right? Wrong. His rent is now $1,450. Why? Because he got promoted, so he moved to a nicer apartment closer to the office. His car payment is now $465. Why? His old car hit 100,000 miles, and he figured with his new salary, he could afford something reliable. Groceries are now $380. Why? He's busy at work, so he buys more prepared foods and orders delivery more often. Utilities are $145. Phone and internet, $130 because he upgraded to unlimited data and faster internet for work from home. Insurance is $240 because the new car costs more to insure. His total fixed costs now, $2,810 per month. That leaves him with $1,972 in discretionary money. Wait, let's do that math again. 3 years ago, he had $1,907 discretionary. Today, after an $18,000 raise, he has $1,972. That's a $65 per month increase in actual financial breathing room despite an $18,000 annual raise. His raise was $1,500 per month before taxes, $1,060 after taxes, but 94% of that raise got absorbed by lifestyle inflation and rising costs. He kept 6%. This is the raise paradox. Your salary goes up significantly, but your financial position barely moves. Or sometimes it gets worse. And here's the truly insidious part. Marcus doesn't feel like he's living extravagantly. The new apartment, it's closer to work, saves him commute time. The new car, it's reliable. He needs it. The better phone plan, he uses it for work. Every single expense increase feels justified, reasonable, even necessary. This is the system's most brilliant trick. It gives you raises that feel like progress, but simultaneously raises the cost of the lifestyle you're supposed to have at that salary level. You're not actually getting ahead. You're just running faster on the same treadmill. Let me show you how this trap is engineered. It starts with something economists call hedonic adaptation, but I call it the success tax. The moment you get a raise, 3 things happen simultaneously, and all of them work against you. First, your baseline expectations shift. When you were making $50,000, a $900 apartment felt fine. At $75,000, that same apartment suddenly feels beneath you. You start looking at places that match your salary. When you were making $60,000, you drove a 10-year-old Honda. At $90,000, you feel like you should be in something newer, safer, more professional. This isn't vanity. It's psychology. We judge our success relative to our peer group, and your peer group changes with your salary. The $90,000 earner isn't comparing themselves to the $50,000 earner anymore. They're comparing themselves to other $90,000 earners. And those people live in nicer places and drive nicer cars. Second, the costs you can't control accelerate faster than your salary. Healthcare premiums go up 5-8 per year. Rent increases 3-7 annually in most cities. Childcare costs rise 3-5 per year. Property taxes increase. Insurance rates climb. These aren't optional expenses. They're mandatory, and they compound. If you get a 3% raise, but your rent goes up 5%, you didn't get a raise. You got a pay cut disguised as a promotion. Third, and this is the one nobody talks about, your income level unlocks new mandatory expenses. When you make $45,000, nobody expects you to have an emergency fund, a retirement account, or life insurance. When you make $85,000, suddenly you're supposed to be maxing out your $401,000. That's $1,625 per month. You're supposed to have proper insurance, another $200 per month. You're supposed to be saving for your kids' college. You're supposed to be investing. Every salary threshold comes with new financial obligations that society, your family, your peers expect you to meet. Your raise unlocked new expenses you didn't have before. Here's the formula. Annual raise equals 3 minus 5. Annual cost increases equal 3 minus 7 for necessities. Social expectation inflation equals 5 minus 10. Net result. You're treading water or slowly drowning, but you're doing it at a higher salary, so nobody feels sorry for you, including yourself. Let me tell you about Jessica. 5 years ago, she was making $62,000 as a marketing coordinator. She was stressed about money, always felt behind. Then, she got serious. Over 5 years, she climbed the ladder hard. Marketing manager at $78,000. Then senior manager at $94,000, then director at $118,000. She more than doubled her salary in 5 years. Every time she got promoted, she felt a rush of relief. Finally, she thought, I can breathe. But here's what actually happened. At $62,000, she rented a 1-bedroom apartment, roommate, her share $700. At $78,000, she got her own 1-bedroom, $1,400. At $94,000, she moved to a nicer building with a gym, $1,850. At $118,000, she bought a condo because rent is throwing money away, $2,600 mortgage plus $380 HOA. At transportation. At $62,000, she took public transit, $90 per month. At $78,000, she leased a car because she needed it for client meetings, $320 per month. At $94,000, she upgraded the lease, $480. At $118,000, she bought a car to build equity, $620 per month plus $210 insurance. Her food. At $62,000, she cooked most meals, $200 per month. At $78,000, busier with work, $350. At $94,000, even busier, $520. At $118,000, barely has time to cook, $780 per month. Her wardrobe. At $62,000, she shocked sales, maybe $600 a year. At $118,000, she's a director. She needs to look like a director. $3,000 a year. Her subscriptions and services. At $62,000, Netflix and Spotify, $25 per month. At $118,000, she has a cleaning service, $200 per month, a meal prep service, $180, premium gym, $120, therapy, $200 because the stress is intense, all the streaming services, $80. Total, $780 per month. 5 years ago, making $62,000, her essential monthly costs were about $1,800. Today, making $118,000, her essential monthly costs are $6,200. Her salary went up $56,000. Her costs went up $52,800 annually. She kept $3,200 of a $56,000 raise. That's 5.7%. And here's the cruelest part. She feels more financially stressed now than she did 5 years ago. Why? Because now she has a mortgage, a car payment, obligations. 5 years ago, if she lost her job, she could move in with a friend, take the bus, survive on very little. Today, if she loses her job, she has 2 months before she loses everything. She makes almost double, but she's more fragile, not less. This is the raise paradox in its final form. Every promotion increases your income, but it also increases your financial fragility because your fixed costs rise faster than your salary. You're making more money, but you're also more trapped. And here's the statistic that should terrify you. According to a recent survey, 45% of people making over $100,000 per year report living paycheck to paycheck. Let that sink in. Six-figure earners, paycheck to paycheck. How is that possible? Because the system is designed to scale your expenses with your income. The more you make, the more you're expected to spend. Now, let's talk about who actually benefits from this system, because you might be surprised. First, your landlord or bank. Every time you get a raise, they raise your rent or you qualify for a bigger mortgage. They capture the value of your raise before you do. Second, car companies and dealerships. The moment you hit a new salary threshold, you're marketed to aggressively. New income bracket equals new car bracket. Third, lifestyle companies. Subscription services, premium gyms, meal kits, cleaning services. They all exist to capture the income of busy professionals who are too successful to cook or clean. Fourth, and this one is subtle, your employer. Here's how. If you're living right at the edge of your income, you can't quit. You can't take risks. You can't negotiate aggressively. You need this job. You need this paycheck. And your employer knows it. The moment you have a mortgage, a car payment, kids in private school, you're predictable. You're controllable. Your raise didn't make you free. It made you more dependent. You're a revenue stream for everyone except yourself. Here's a question I want you to answer honestly. If you lost your job tomorrow, how many months could you survive at your current lifestyle? Not survival mode, your actual current lifestyle. If your answer is less than 6 months, you're not financially secure. You're financially trapped at a higher income level. And here's the truly messed up part. The more you make, often the fewer months you can survive because your fixed costs are higher. The person making $45,000 with $1,100 in rent might have 3 months saved. The person making $95,000 with $2,800 in housing costs might have 6 weeks saved. The high earner is more at risk, not less. Your raises didn't buy you security. They bought you a more expensive lifestyle that's just as precarious. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you get a $10,000 raise tomorrow. Be honest with yourself. What would happen to that money? Would it go into investments? Or would it disappear into a nicer apartment, a better car, more convenient services, a vacation you finally deserve? If you're like 90% of people, it disappears. And this isn't a personal failing. This is how humans are wired and how the system is designed. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment you understand the race paradox, everything changes. You stop playing the game you're supposed to play and you start playing a different game entirely. Here's the shift. Stop asking, how do I make more money? Start asking, how do I keep more money? These are fundamentally different questions. One keeps you trapped. The other sets you free. Most people optimize for salary. The financially free optimize for the gap. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only number that matters. A person making $60,000 and spending $40,000 is wealthier than a person making $120,000 and spending $115,000. The first person has $20,000 working for them. The second has $5,000. The first person has options. The second is one bad month away from disaster. Here's what you do. First, and this is going to sound insane, but stay with me. When you get your next raise, pretend you didn't. I'm serious. You get a $5,000 raise, act like it never happened. Auto-transfer that money to a separate account the day it hits. You were surviving on your old salary. Keep surviving on it. This is the only way to break the cycle. If you let lifestyle inflation eat the raise, you gain nothing. If you capture the raise before your psychology adjusts, you build actual wealth. Second, implement what I call cost locking. Pick 1 year, maybe the year you are right now, and lock your lifestyle costs at that level. Rent, car, subscriptions, food, everything. For the next 3 years, no matter how much your salary increases, your costs stay locked. Every raise goes to investments, debt payoff, or building a buffer. This is how you escape. Third, calculate your freedom number. This is the amount of money you need to have in liquid savings to survive 6 months at your current lifestyle. For most people, it's between $15,000 and $40,000. That number becomes your obsession. Not your salary, not your title, your freedom number. The moment you hit it, your psychology shifts. You can negotiate. You can take risks. You are no longer trapped. Fourth, and this is the most important, Build anti-fragile income. Your salary is fragile. It disappears the moment you lose your job. Anti-fragile income is income that exists without you. Investments that pay dividends. Rental income, a business that runs without you. Assets that appreciate. The goal isn't to get rich from your salary. The goal is to use your salary to build assets that eventually replace your salary. Here's the brutal truth. Your salary is not your wealth. Your salary is the tool you use to build wealth. But most people confuse the tool for the goal. They spend their entire lives optimizing the tool, getting raises, promotions, title bumps, and they never actually use the tool to build anything. They're professional tool collectors. The people who escape the raise paradox understand something fundamental. A raise only matters if you capture it. If it flows through your hands into someone else's pocket, it might as well have never happened. You're just a conduit for wealth transfer from your employer to your landlord, your bank, your car company. You're not the wealth builder. You're the middleman. But the moment you intercept that flow, the moment you capture even 50% of your raises, everything changes. A $10,000 raise becomes $5,000 invested every year. In 10 years, that's $50,000 plus compounding. In 20 years, it's over $200,000. That's not from getting rich. That's from keeping half of your raises instead of spending all of them. This isn't about deprivation. This is about understanding the game. Right now, you're playing a game where raises feel good but change nothing. I'm inviting you to play a different game where raises feel invisible but change everything. The raise paradox is real. It's sophisticated, but it's not inescapable. The people who break free aren't the ones making the most money. They're the ones keeping the most money. There's a difference. And now you know it. If this breakdown just changed how you see your next raise, if you realized you've been playing the wrong game, subscribe to this channel. We break down the invisible systems that control your money, and we show you how to beat them. Every video gets you one step closer to actual financial freedom, not just a higher salary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.